Hello there. What time is it where you are? Still tossing and turning, unable to sleep? I'm here to spin you a tale that might just lull you into the deepest slumber you've ever had. I'm always curious to know where you all are listening from. Drop a comment with your location and the time there, would you? It's amazing to see our little global community come together through these stories. Now, dim the lights, maybe switch on a fan for that gentle background hum, and let's dive into tonight's journey. We're about to explore why you might not survive a single day as a servant in a vampire-haunted castle in the medieval era. Congratulations, you've just woken up as a servant in a sprawling, vampire-infested castle, nestled in the shadowed heart of medieval Europe, somewhere in the murky depths of the 1400s. The good news? You're living in a Gothic masterpiece, a labyrinth of towering spires, flickering torches, and ancient tapestries woven with scenes of forgotten horrors. The bad news? Your chances of surviving a single day are slimmer than the sliver of moonlight piercing the castle's narrow, arrow-slit windows. This isn't the romanticized vampire world of modern novels or Hollywood films, where brooding immortals sip wine and wrestle with existential crises. No, this is a brutal, unforgiving reality where every moment tests your physical endurance, mental resilience, and sheer, desperate luck. The castle is a prison of stone and shadow, ruled by bloodthirsty lords who see you as little more than a walking meal, a disposable cog in their eternal machine. Let's walk through what your life would be like, hour by grueling hour, and why you, with your 21st century habits and expectations, would likely not make it to sunset. Awaken before dawn on a straw pallet in the servants' quarters, a cramped, windowless chamber tucked deep in the castle's bowels, far from the opulent halls of its immortal masters. The air is thick with the sour stench of mildew, rotting wood, and something faintly metallic. Blood, perhaps, or the lingering echo of it, soaked into the very stones. The walls are slick with dampness, their cold seeping into your bones, even through the threadbare woolen tunic that's your only protection against the chill. There's no central heating, no electric lights, just the dim, flickering glow of tallow candles that reek of rancid animal fat and cast eerie, dancing shadows across the uneven floor. If you're lucky, you might have a single candle to light your way, its feeble flame barely pushing back the oppressive darkness. More likely, you're fumbling through pitch-black corridors, your hands brushing against slimy stone, praying you don't trip over a rat, a loose cobblestone, or something far worse lurking unseen. The castle is a labyrinth, a sprawling maze of spiraling staircases, hidden passages, and sealed-off rooms that no one dares mention. It feels alive, its walls whispering with secrets, its shadows shifting when you're not looking, as if the very structure is an extension of the vampire's will. The castle's temperature is a relentless assault on your body. In winter, it's a frozen tomb, with temperatures inside plunging well below freezing. Your breath hangs in the air like a ghostly shroud, and your fingers numb as you try to warm them over a dying fire, its embers barely enough to stave off frostbite. The stone floors are so cold they burn your bare feet, and the drafty halls howl with icy winds that slip through the narrow windows, arrow slits designed for defense, not comfort, letting in more wind than light. In summer, the stone traps heat and humidity, turning the air suffocating, your clothes clinging to your skin with sweat that never dries, breeding rashes and sores that itch incessantly. Modern comforts like air conditioning, thermal underwear, or even a soft mattress? Forget them. Your bed is a lumpy sack of straw, crawling with fleas, lice, and bedbugs that leave your skin covered in itchy welts. You're lucky if you have a single blanket, likely shared with another shivering servant and riddled with holes, offering little protection against the cold. Your body aches from the moment you open your eyes, every muscle protesting from yesterday's endless labor. Sleep, if he managed any, was fitful, interrupted by nightmares of sharp teeth, glowing eyes, and the faint, eerie laughter that echoes through the halls at night, a sound that chills your blood and lingers in your mind like a curse. As a servant, your day begins at 4 a.m. and doesn't end until the vampire lords retire at sunrise, a grueling stretch of 20 hours or more with no concept of a break, a weekend, or even a moment to catch your breath. Your tasks are relentless, scrubbing blood-stained flagstones in the Great Hall until your hands bleed, hauling firewood up treacherous spiral staircases where a single misstep could send you plummeting, preparing meals for the human staff in a smoky kitchen that chokes your lungs, and, most terrifyingly, tending to the needs of the castle's immortal masters. Every job is physically grueling, designed to break your body and spirit. You're expected to work until your hands are raw, your back screams, and your knees buckle from exhaustion, with no mercy for fatigue or injury. If you're assigned to clean the vampire's private chambers, you move like a ghost, heart pounding, knowing one wrong step, a creaking floorboard, a dropped cloth, a smudge on their ornate coffins could draw their attention. And their attention is the last thing you want. The vampires don't feed often, but when they do, it's not the livestock in the stables they're after. A single nick on your finger from a knife, a scrape from a rough stone, or even the scent of your fear could make you their next meal, and there's no one to save you. The vampires are nothing like the charming, misunderstood creatures of modern fiction. They're predators, ancient, pale, and unnervingly silent when they move, their footsteps making no sound on the stone floors. Their eyes glint red in the torchlight, piercing through you like a blade, and their presence sends a chill down your spine that has nothing to do with the castle's drafty halls. You've heard whispers from other servants, how they slip through the shadows like smoke, how they can hear your heartbeat from across the room, how those who displease them vanish without a trace, their screams swallowed by the castle's endless corridors. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of a candle makes you jump, your nerves frayed to the breaking point. They don't need to hunt you. You're already trapped within these walls, a mouse in a cage full of cats. Spill a drop of their crimson wine, leave a speck of dust on their coffin, or, worst of all, catch their eye with a cut, a moment of weakness, or even a fleeting glance, and you might find yourself drained dry before morning. The steward, a gaunt, hollow-eyed man who's served them for decades and might be halfway to becoming one of them, his skin unnaturally pale, his movements too precise, warns you to keep your head down. Never speak unless spoken to, and avoid looking them in the eye. But even perfect obedience might not save you. The vampires seem to smell fear, and fear makes them hungrier, their lips curling into smiles that reveal teeth too sharp to be human. The castle's kitchen is no refuge from the terror. Preparing food for the human staff means hours hunched over a smoky hearth, coughing as you stir pots of watery gruel, or bake coarse bread from rye flour riddled with weevils and grit. Fresh vegetables are a rare luxury, available only a few weeks a year when the castle's small, neglected garden yields a meagre harvest of turnips, onions, or wilted greens. The diet is monotonous. Porridge thickened with mouldy barley, salted meat so tough it tears at your gums, maybe a sliver of cheese crawling with mites if you're lucky. For the vampires, your tasks are far grimmer. You might be sent to the cellar to fetch their sustenance, a task that involves hauling heavy buckets filled with something thick and red that sloshes sickeningly, its metallic, cloying smell turning your stomach. If you try not to think about what it is or where it came from, rumours whisper of prisoners kept in the dungeons, or worse, servants who disappeared after a mistake, but the weight of the buckets and the sticky residue on your hands make it impossible to ignore. One mistake, spilling their meal, preparing it incorrectly, or hesitating when ordered to serve it, could mean you're next. The other servants avoid talking about it, their eyes darting nervously as they scrub pots or knead dough, their silence louder than any scream. Food for the humans is scarce and bland, but at least it's not alive. Sanitation is a myth in this castle, a concept as foreign as electricity or antibiotics. The privies are overflowing pits in the courtyard, their stench wafting through the halls, mingling with the smells of rotting food, damp straw, and decay. Flies swarm in clouds, settling on every surface, and you've learned to brush them off your food without thinking. Bathing is a rare event. Water is too precious, and fetching it from the well means hauling heavy buckets across uneven cobblestones, often in the dark, your arms trembling from the effort. The well itself is a source of dread. Its water is cloudy, tasting of iron and something you can't name, and some servants swear they've seen shapes moving in its depths, pale faces staring up from the blackness. Fleas, lice, and bedbugs are your constant companions, leaving your skin covered in itchy welts that you can't help but scratch until they bleed. That's a dangerous habit in a castle, where the smell of blood draws attention like moths to a flame. the vampires' nostrils flaring as they pass you in the halls. You try to keep your wounds hidden, wrapping them in scraps of cloth, but the damp environment makes healing impossible, and every scratch risks infection. Disease festers in these damp, filthy conditions, a silent killer as deadly as the vampires themselves. Dysentery sweeps through the servants' quarters, leaving you weak and dehydrated, your body racked with cramps as you huddle near the privy, too sick to work, but too afraid to rest. Typhus spreads through the lice that infest your clothes and bedding, its fever burning through you until you're delirious, muttering prayers you barely remember. Smallpox scars those it doesn't kill, its pustules leaving survivors marked for life, their faces a testament to the castle's cruelty. The castle's physician is no help, a superstitious old man who believes leeches, bloodletting, or poultices of mouldy herbs and animal dung can cure anything. His treatments are as likely to kill you as the disease itself, his hands trembling as he applies a foul-smelling salve that burns more than it heals. If you're injured, perhaps slicing your hand while chopping wood or burning yourself on the hearth, there's no proper care. Wounds fester, infections spread, and a simple cut can turn deadly in days, your limbs swelling and blackening as you beg for mercy that never comes. The vampires, immune to human ailments, view your suffering with indifference, or worse, as an opportunity to feed, their eyes lingering on your fevered skin as they pass. The castle's isolation is another torment, a psychological weight that crushes your spirit as surely as the labour breaks your body. Miles from the nearest village, surrounded by dense forests or desolate moors that seem to whisper with unseen threats, you're cut off from the world. No letters arrive, no news travels. The only stories you hear are the whispered tales of other servants, passed in hurried moments between tasks, their voices low and trembling. Some speak of villages that tried to revolt against the vampires, only to be razed to the ground, their inhabitants slaughtered, or worse, turned into thralls, mindless slaves, bound to the vampire's will. Others tell of servants who fled, only to be hunted down by the vampire's familiars, wolves with eyes that glow like embers, bats that swarm like a living cloud, or worse, creatures that defy description, their forms twisting in the moonlight. The castle is a prison, its walls as much a barrier to escape as a defence against the outside world. The other servants are a mix of terrified newcomers like you, their eyes wide with panic, and hollow-eyed veterans who've seen too much to talk about it, their spirits broken by years of service. Friendships are hard to form when everyone's too scared to trust each other, and the vampires seem to prefer it that way. Division keeps you weak, your loyalty divided between survival and betrayal. The psychological strain is relentless, a slow erosion of your sanity that's harder to fight than hunger or cold. You're always on edge, listening for the soft tread of a vampire's boots, the rustle of their cloak, or the faint, eerie laughter that echoes through the halls at night, a sound that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Sleep is fitful, interrupted by nightmares of sharp teeth, cold hands, and glowing eyes that follow you even in your dreams. The castle's silence is oppressive, broken only by the howl of wolves outside, the creak of ancient timbers, or the occasional scream from a distant corridor, cut off so abruptly it leaves your heart pounding. You start to wonder if you're losing your mind, or if the vampires are already in your head, planting doubts and fears to keep you compliant. Some servants speak of the influence, a subtle, insidious power the vampires wield, making you question your own thoughts. Did you forget to lock that window because you were tired, or because they wanted it open? Did you drop that goblet by accident, or did their gaze make your hands tremble? The veterans warn you never to look into a vampire's eyes for too long, lest they take hold of your will. But it's hard to avoid when their gaze seems to pierce your soul, stripping away your defenses until you're nothing but prey. Let's walk through your day, hour by hour, to see just how quickly it unravels. You rise at 4 a.m., fumbling in the dark to light a candle that barely pushes back the shadows, its flame guttering in the damp air. Your first task is to clean the great hall, scrubbing bloodstains from the flagstones before the vampires notice, your knees aching as you kneel for hours, your hands raw from the rough stone and harsh lye soap that burns your skin. The stains are stubborn, some fresh and slick, others old and crusted, each one a silent testament to the castle's horrors. The steward watches you like a hawk, his eyes cold and unyielding, ready to report any mistake to the vampires. Next, you haul firewood up a narrow, winding staircase, each step a gamble as loose stones threaten to send you plummeting to the floor below. The wood is heavy, its splinters digging into your palms, and your arms tremble from the effort. But you can't stop. The fires must be kept burning, or the vampires will be displeased, and their displeasure is deadly. You pass a tapestry depicting a hunt, its threads faded but the scene vivid. Pale figures with glowing eyes chasing terrified humans through a moonlit forest. You avert your gaze, but the image lingers, a warning you can't ignore. By midday, you're in the kitchen, choking on smoke as you prepare a meagre lunch for the staff. The hearth is a beast, spitting embers that burn your hands and face if you're not careful, its heat searing your skin even as the rest of the castle remains cold. You stir a pot of gruel, trying not to think about the weevils floating in it, their tiny bodies crunching under your spoon. Another servant, a girl barely older than you, mutters about a missing friend who was sent to the cellar last night and never returned, her voice trembling as she glances at the door. You want to comfort her, but the steward's shadow looms nearby and you keep your head down, focusing on the pot. Afternoon brings a new horror. You're tasked with polishing the silver goblets used by the vampires, each one heavy and ornate, their surfaces etched with symbols that make your eyes ache. They reek of something metallic and wrong, and you can't shake the feeling that they're watching you from the shadows, their presence a weight on your soul. If you're unlucky, you're sent to the crypt-like cellar to fetch their wine, a task that leaves you trembling as you navigate dark, dripping tunnels where the air feels thick with malice. The walls seem to pulse, and you hear whispers, your name perhaps, or just the castle mocking you, its voice a chorus of the damned. As dusk cloaks the vampire-haunted castle in a shroud of deepening shadows, the air grows thick with an electric, malevolent anticipation. The vampires awaken, their presence transforming the castle from a cold, oppressive prison into a living nightmare, a stage for a terror that seeps into your bones and sets your heart pounding. The very stones seem to pulse with their rising hunger, the silence of the day giving way to a symphony of dread. Faint whispers, the creak of ancient hinges, the soft rustle of their cloaks as they glide through the halls, their footsteps silent yet heavy with intent. You're summoned to serve at one of their feasts, a task that fills you with a dread so visceral it churns your stomach, your hands trembling as you grip a heavy silver tray laden with goblets. The liquid within is thick and red, sloshing sickeningly with each step, its metallic, cloying scent assaulting your senses. A reminder of its gruesome origin, blood. Drawn from sources you dare not contemplate. Perhaps prisoners in the cellar, perhaps servants who vanished after a single misstep. The tray is cold against your palms, its weight a burden that mirrors the fear pressing on your chest. Each step toward the great hall, a descent into a nightmare you cannot escape. The vampires watch you as you enter, their eyes glinting like polished rubies in the torchlight, tracking your every movement with the precision of predators sizing up prey. Their gazes are not merely observant, they're invasive, piercing through your defenses, stripping away your courage until you feel naked, exposed. A mouse trembling before a circle of cats. Their lips curl into smiles that reveal teeth too sharp to be human, gleaming with a hunger that promises no mercy. Their expressions a chilling blend of amusement and menace. One wrong move, a spilled drop of the crimson liquid, a trembling hand that betrays your fear, a moment's hesitation as you pour, could be your end. You imagine being dragged into the shadows, your screams swallowed by the castle's endless corridors, your body vanishing without a trace, your name erased from the world. The other servants move around you like ghosts, their eyes averted, their faces pale and drawn, as if acknowledging you might draw the vampire's attention to them as well. They're your comrades in suffering, yet there's no solidarity here, only a shared terror that isolates you further, each servant a solitary figure in a sea of fear, their silence a survival mechanism honed by years of dread. The feast itself is a grotesque spectacle, a twisted parody of human celebration, a banquet where death is the guest of honor. The great hall is a cavern of shadows, its high ceilings lost in darkness, its walls adorned with tapestries that seem to writhe in the flickering torchlight, depicting scenes of ancient hunts and blood-soaked rituals that make your skin crawl. The long table is draped in black velvet, its surface gleaming with an unnatural sheen, as if stained by centuries of spilled blood. Human guests, unaware of their host's true nature, sit among the vampires, their laughter nervous, their eyes darting as they sense something amiss but cannot name it. These nobles, drawn by promises of wealth or power, are lambs among wolves, their voices trembling as they try to match the vampire's effortless charm. The vampires toy with them, their voices smooth as silk, yet laced with a menace that chills your blood, their words dripping with double meanings, their laughter like the shattering of glass, sharp and brittle, cutting through the air. You overhear snippets of their conversation, tales of ancient wars fought under blood-red moons, where armies fell to creatures that drank their life, forbidden rituals that shattered empires, their chants still echoing in the castle's stones. Pacts with entities older than time, their names unpronounceable, heavy with a power that makes your head throb and your vision blur. These fragments are not meant for you, yet they lodge in your mind. A puzzle you can't solve, a weight you can't shake, each word a reminder of the vampire's eternity and your own fleeting existence. You try to focus on your tasks, pouring the crimson liquid with hands that shake despite your efforts to steady them, your heart pounding so loudly you're sure the vampires can hear it, their senses attuned to the rhythm of your fear. The air is thick with the scent of blood and decay, a miasma that clings to your throat, making each breath a struggle, each exhale a surrender to the castle's malice. The goblets are heavy, their silver surfaces etched with symbols that burn your eyes, spirals, claws, eyes that seem to watch you, their lines shifting when you're not looking. You move carefully, your steps measured, your breath shallow, knowing that a single mistake could draw the vampire's wrath. One might laugh off a spilt goblet, their laughter a jagged edge that slices through your nerves, while another might tear out your throat for the same offence, their smile never wavering, their eyes glinting with delight as your blood stains the floor. The feast is a dance of death, each moment a test of your nerve, your precision, your ability to suppress the scream rising in your throat. The strange, hypnotic music that fills the hall doesn't help, a dissonant melody played on instruments you can't name, its notes weaving through your mind like a spell, tugging at your thoughts, threatening to pull you under, to make you forget yourself, to make you theirs. If you survive the feast, your ordeal is far from over. You're sent to clean the vampire's chambers, a task that fills you with a dread so profound it feels like a physical weight, pressing on your chest, squeezing the air from your lungs. You tiptoe through the darkened corridors, your candle's feeble flame barely pushing back the shadows, its light casting eerie shapes that dance and twist, mimicking the vampire's forms. The chambers are a labyrinth within the labyrinth, their heavy doors carved with runes that pulse faintly, their surfaces cold to the touch, as if the wood itself is alive with malice. Inside, the air is wrong, heavy, oppressive, charged with an energy that makes your skin prickle, your hair stand on end. The coffins dominate the room, ornate monstrosities of polished wood and gleaming metal, their surfaces carved with symbols you don't understand, spirals that seem to spiral inward forever, eyes that blink when you turn away, claws that twitch as if reaching for you. The air around them is thick, suffocating, as if the coffins are breathing, their presence a violation of the natural order, a reminder of the vampire's unnatural existence. You move like a ghost, your heart in your throat, your breath shallow as you pray. The vampires are truly asleep, their forms hidden within the coffin's depths. One servant, her voice barely a whisper, told you of a girl who cleaned these chambers last week. Her rag was found the next morning, soaked in blood, the coffin she'd been near creaking open, its occupant gone, her fate a mystery no one dares unravel. The story haunts you as you dust with a cloth that's already fraying, its threads catching on the coffin's sharp edges, each movement a risk, each sound a potential death sentence. The silence is oppressive, broken only by the faint creak of the coffins, the drip of water from unseen leaks, the skitter of rats in the walls, or perhaps something worse, something the vampires keep as pets. Their forms unseen but felt, their presence a weight on your soul. You You try not to look at the symbols, but they draw your eye, their lines twisting into patterns that make your head ache, your vision blur, your mind whisper things you don't want to hear. Names, chants, promises of power or damnation. You finish as quickly as you can, your hands trembling, your breath ragged, your heart pounding as you flee the chamber, the door's heavy thud behind you a temporary reprieve from the terror. By the time you return to the servants' quarters, it's past midnight, the castle cloaked in a darkness so deep it feels like a living thing, pressing against you, whispering your fears. You collapse onto your straw pallet, its lumps digging into your aching body, the fleas and lice crawling over your skin, a torment you're too exhausted to care about. The cold seeps through the thin blanket you share with another servant, its holes offering no protection, the damp air chilling your bones. Sleep, if it comes, is a cruel jest, haunted by visions of glowing eyes and sharp teeth, their images so vivid you wake with a start, your body slick with sweat, your heart racing as you listen for the whisper of your name in the dark. A voice too familiar to be a dream, too real to be imagination. You lie awake, staring into the blackness, wondering if it was the vampires, the castle, or your own fractured mind, each possibility a terror that gnaws at your sanity, a reminder that there's no escape, no rest, no peace in this place. Venturing beyond the vampire-haunted castle's oppressive walls plunges you into a world where the dangers multiply tenfold. The grounds a malevolent extension of the castle's malice, a treacherous landscape designed to break even the most resilient spirits. The outside world is no sanctuary, it's a crucible of terror, a gamble against odds so steep that survival feels like a cruel jest, each step a defiance of the inevitable. The castle's influence doesn't end at its gates. It seeps into the earth, twists the air, and poisons the shadows, turning the surrounding forest, moors and outbuildings into a labyrinth of peril where every moment tests your courage, your endurance, your will to live. You're not just a servant here. You're prey, exposed to the elements, to creatures both natural and unnatural, to the vampire's ever-watchful gaze, their presence a weight that presses on your soul, their laughter a chilling refrain carried on the wind, reminding you that you're never truly alone, never safe, never free. The forest encircling the castle is a nightmare realm, a twisted expanse of gnarled trees that seem alive with malice, their branches contorting into skeletal hands that reach for your cloak, their tips snagging at the fabric, tearing it as you stumble forward, your heart pounding with the fear of being caught. The roots, thick and knotted, erupt from the ground like traps, tripping your feet, sending you sprawling into the damp, decaying leaf litter that reeks of rot and mould, its scent clogging your throat, a reminder of the death that permeates this place. The paths, if they can be called that, are treacherous, winding and shifting as if guided by a malevolent will, leading you deeper into the woods. No matter which direction you intend to go, landmarks, a gnarled oak, a moss-covered boulder, seem to move when you're not looking, their positions changing, their forms blurring in the darkness, as if the forest itself is conspiring to keep you lost, to drive you to despair. The air is thick, heavy with the scent of pine, earth, and decay, a miasma that presses against your chest, making each breath a struggle, each exhale a surrender to the forest's suffocating embrace. The darkness here is absolute, a living thing that swallows your candle's pitiful flame, its light a mere spark against the overwhelming blackness, casting shadows that dance and writhe, mimicking the forms of predators, wolves, vampires, or something worse. The candle gutters in the wind, its wax dripping onto your trembling hands, burning your skin, a small pain that grounds you in the moment, yet underscores your vulnerability. You clutch it tightly, its frail glow your only companion, yet it betrays you, illuminating just enough to reveal the gnarled branches, the glinting eyes, the shapes that vanish when you turn to face them. Wolves prowl these woods, their presence announced by howls that pierce the night, a chorus that chills your blood, their cries echoing through the trees, blending with the wind until you can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Their eyes glint in the moonlight like embers, their forms blending with the shadows, their movements silent yet deliberate, a reminder that you're not the only hunter here, or rather, that you're the hunted. Your heartbeat a beacon to their keen senses. You've seen their tracks, their scat, their kills, deer torn apart, their entrails steaming in the cold air, their bones gnawed clean, a warning of what could await you if you falter. But wolves are not the worst of the forest's denizens. Servants whisper in hushed, trembling tones of creatures far more horrific, things that defy nature, their existence a curse woven into the earth itself. Some speak of beings with too many limbs, their bodies scuttling through the underbrush, their appendages clicking like bone on stone, their forms a grotesque parody of spiders or crabs, yet larger, hungrier, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. Others describe creatures with no limbs at all, their bodies writhing like serpents, their flesh pale and translucent, revealing organs that pulse and twist beneath the surface, their mouths filled with writhing shadows that snap and hiss. Their screams echo at night, a sound that makes your blood run cold, a wail that carries no animal origin, but something older, something wrong, a lament that speaks of pain and hunger and eternity. Some say these creatures serve the vampires, their familiars bound by blood and magic, sent to patrol the woods, to drag back those who dare to flee, their claws sinking into flesh, their mouths latching onto throats, their victims' screams cut short by the forest's oppressive silence. Others claim they're older than the castle itself, remnants of whatever primordial evil birthed this place, their existence a lingering curse, their hunger a mirror of the vampire's own, yet wilder, less controlled, a chaos that even the lords fear to confront. You've heard tales of servants who ventured too deep into the forest, their fates a litany of horror whispered in the servants' quarters. One was found impaled on a tree, his body twisted as if wrung like a cloth, his eyes gone, his mouth open in a scream no one heard. Another vanished, leaving only a trail of blood and a single shoe, its leather torn as if by claws. A third returned, but not whole, his mind shattered, his voice reduced to gibbering, his eyes wide with terror as he spoke of things in the dark, things that know your name. These stories are not just warnings, they're a weight, a chain that binds you to the castle, a reminder that the world outside offers no escape, only different kinds of death. You try to focus on your task, gathering firewood perhaps, or fetching herbs from the forest's edge, but the fear never leaves you, a constant companion that sharpens your senses, yet clouds your judgment, making every rustle a threat, every shadow a predator, every moment a gamble with your life. The moors, stretching beyond the forest, are no safer, a desolate expanse of cracked earth, stunted heather and jagged rocks, a landscape that feels like the aftermath of some ancient cataclysm, its scars a testament to the castle's malevolence. The fog here is a living thing, rolling in so dense you can't see your hand in front of your face, its tendrils curling around you, cold and damp, whispering your fears in a voice that's almost human, yet not. It clings to your skin, seeps into your clothes, chills your bones, a presence that feels like the castle's breath, its malice given form. The air is heavy with the smell of rot, of decay, of something ancient and wrong. A stench that coats your throat, makes your eyes water, reminds you of the blood-filled goblets you carry at the vampire's feasts. You hear footsteps behind you, soft, too soft, as if the ground itself is stalking you, their rhythm matching your own, stopping when you stop, starting when you move. You turn, your candle's flame flickering, but there's nothing, only fog and shadow, yet the feeling of being watched never fades, a weight on your soul that makes every step a struggle, every breath a battle against panic. The paths on the moors are treacherous, vanishing into the mist, their edges crumbling under your feet, threatening to send you tumbling into ravines hidden by the fog. Landmarks, a twisted tree, a pile of stones, shift when you're not looking, their forms blurring, their positions changing, as if the moors are alive, conspiring to keep you lost. The castle itself seems to recede, its towers fading into the mist, its presence a taunt that dares you to wander, to fall. Getting lost is easy, a moment's distraction enough to erase your bearings, the fog swallowing sound, light, hope. Rescue is impossible. The vampires don't search for lost servants, their absence a convenience, their fate a warning etched in the silence. The villagers, miles away in hamlets you'll never see, know better than to venture near. Their stories of the castle a litany of horror, tales of travellers who entered the moors and never returned, of screams heard on moonless nights, of shadows that move against the wind. Their fear is a mirror of your own, a reminder that the world outside the castle is no kinder, no safer, no less cruel. You've been tasked with crossing the moors before, perhaps to deliver a message to a distant outpost or to gather peat for the castle's fires, and each journey is a descent into terror. The ground is uneven, sucking at your boots, each step a risk of twisting an ankle, breaking a leg, or sinking into bogs that hide beneath the heather. Their surfaces deceptively solid, their depths a cold, suffocating trap. The fog distorts sound, making distant howls seem close, close rustles seem distant, your senses betrayed by the moor's malice. You've seen bones in the heather, human, animal, or something else, their surfaces bleached by time, their shapes twisted by whatever claimed them. Some bare teeth marks, too large for wolves, too precise for bears, a reminder of the creatures that lurk beyond your sight, their hunger a constant threat, their presence a weight that presses on your chest, your mind, your soul. Tending the stables is another perilous duty, a task that pits you against creatures driven mad by the castle's unnatural aura. The horses are half-starved, their ribs stark against their hides, their coats matted with filth, their eyes wild with a fear that mirrors your own. They shy at your touch, their hooves lashing out, a kick capable of shattering your leg, crushing your chest, or snapping your spine in a single brutal instant. You've seen servants crippled by such blows, their screams echoing through the stables, their bodies dragged away to the physician's chamber, where his rusty blade and crude saws offer no hope, only pain. Amputation is the best outcome, a brutal procedure performed without anaesthetic, the blade dull, the saw jagged, the physician's hands trembling as he mutters about, purging corruption. Your screams a symphony he ignores. The stables reek of manure, fear, and decay. The air thick with flies that settle on your skin, your eyes, your wounds. Their buzzing a constant torment, their presence a vector for disease. The straw is damp, mouldy, a breeding ground for infections that creep into cuts and scrapes, turning minor injuries into death sentences. Your body swelling with poison, your fever spiking until you're shaking, your mind clouded with delirium. The horses sense the vampire's presence, their panic a mirror of your own, their screams a sound that haunts your dreams, their eyes rolling as they rear and stamp, their hooves striking sparks from the stone floor. You move carefully, your voice low, your hands steady despite the fear that churns in your gut, knowing that a single misstep could provoke a fatal reaction. Feeding them is a struggle, the grain meagre, infested with weevils, the hay brittle and sparse, their hunger a constant source of agitation. Cleaning their stalls is back-breaking, the pitchfork heavy, the muck thick and foul, its stench clinging to your clothes, your skin, your soul. The vampires sometimes visit the stables, their presence a cold, suffocating weight that drives the horses into a frenzy, their eyes glinting as they watch you struggle. Their laughter, a sound that follows you long after they've gone, a reminder that you're theirs, your life a flicker in their eternal night. If you're sent to guard the gates or fetch water from a distant stream, you're exposed to the elements, a relentless foe that tests your endurance, your resilience, your hope. Freezing rain soaks you to the bone, your thin cloak no protection against the cold that numbs your fingers, your toes, your heart, its chill seeping into your joints, making every movement a small agony, every breath a cloud of frost that stings your lungs. Blistering sun burns your skin, leaving it raw and peeling, your thirst a torment you can't quench. The stream too far, the castle's well too foul, your lips cracking, your tongue swollen, your vision blurring as dehydration sets in. Howling winds cut through you like a knife, their force knocking you to your knees, their sound a wail that echoes the castle's malice, a chorus of despair that drowns your thoughts, your courage, your will to live. The gate is a lonely post, its iron rusted, its hinges creaking, its height offering no protection from the eyes that watch from the shadows, their glint a promise of hunger, of pain, of death. Fetching water is a grueling task, the buckets heavy, their handles digging into your palms, their weight pulling at your shoulders, your spine, your soul. The stream is miles away, its waters cold and murky, its banks slick with mud, its currents strong enough to pull you under, its depths hiding things that brush against your legs, their touch cold and slimy, their forms unseen but felt, a terror that makes your heart race, your breath catch, your hands tremble as you fill the bucket. The journey back is worse, the weight doubled, the path uphill, the wind against you, the darkness closing in, the vampires' laughter, a sound that follows you, their presence, a weight that presses on your chest, your mind, your soul. You've heard of servants who never returned from the stream, their buckets found floating, their tracks ending abruptly, their fates a mystery no one dares unravel. Bandits lurk at the edges of the grounds, drawn by rumours of the vampire's wealth, their knives glinting in the moonlight, their faces hard with desperation, their eyes glinting with greed. They're as likely to kill you as rob you, their blades swift, their hands steady, their demands simple, your shoes, your cloak, your life. You have nothing to give, your possessions meagre, your life worth less than the dirt beneath their boots, yet they take what they want, their violence a mirror of the castle's cruelty, their desperation a reflection of your own. You've seen their work, servants found with throat slit, their bodies stripped, their faces frozen in terror, their blood soaking into the earth, a warning that the world outside is no kinder, no safer, no less cruel. Fighting back is futile. You're no warrior, your strength sapped by hunger, your body weakened by labour, your spirit broken by fear. Running is no better, the forest and moors a trap, the bandits' laughter echoing as they give chase, their footsteps a rhythm that matches your heartbeat, their blades a promise of pain. And always you feel the vampires watching, their presence a weight that never lifts, their laughter carried on the wind, a sound that follows you through the forest, across the moors, into the stables, never letting you forget that you're theirs. Their senses are unnatural, their awareness absolute. They hear your heartbeat, its frantic rhythm a song to their hunger, smell your fear, its acrid scent a perfume to their nostrils, feel your every step, the vibrations travelling through the earth, a map to their prey. The castle's grounds are an extension of their will. Its earth their eyes, its wind their voice, its shadows their hands, reaching for you, guiding you, claiming you. You're never alone, the vampire's gaze a constant companion, a reminder that you're prey, your life a flicker in their eternal night, your blood a temptation they can claim at any moment. Each task outside the castle is a test, a gamble, a dance with death. And every moment you survive is a victory that feels like defeat, a step closer to the inevitable moment when the vampires, the forest, the moors, the castle claim you at last. The vampire's society is a twisted mockery of the feudal order, a grotesque parody of power and privilege that mirrors the world outside, yet distorts it into something far darker. They hold court in the Great Hall, their shadows stretching long across the walls like claws, their forms towering over the room, their presence a suffocating weight that makes the air hard to breathe. The guests are a mix of terrified human nobles, their finery a stark contrast to their pale, trembling faces, their laughter forced as they try to curry favour. Ambitious sycophants, their eyes gleaming with greed, their words dripping with flattery as they seek a place in the vampire's world. And other vampires, visitors from distant castles, each one a predator in their own right, their eyes as cold and hungry as their hosts, their movements a dance of menace and grace. These gatherings are lavish and grotesque, a spectacle of excess and horror, with goblets of blood passed around like fine wine, their surfaces glinting in the torchlight, their contents sloshing with a sickening weight. The strange, hypnotic music that fills the hall is played on instruments you can't name, strings that wail like tortured souls, pipes that moan like the wind through a graveyard, drums that pulse like a dying heart, its notes weaving through your mind, tugging at your thoughts, threatening to pull you into a trance where you're no longer yourself, no longer human. The vampires speak in riddles, their conversations a tapestry of secrets and threats, laced with references to ancient wars fought under blood-red moons, where entire nations fell to their hunger. Forbidden rituals that shattered empires, their power drawn from blood and sacrifice, their echoes still resonating in the castle's stones. Pacts with entities older than the castle itself, their names unpronounceable, their forms unthinkable, their power a weight that presses on your mind, your soul, your very existence. These fragments of their history are not meant for you, yet they burn into your memory, each word a reminder of their eternity, their dominion, their hunger. As a servant, you're invisible until you make a mistake. Then you're the center of their attention. And not in a good way. Their moods are unpredictable, a whim that shifts with the wind. One might laugh off a spilled goblet, their laughter like breaking glass, sharp and mocking, while another might tear out your throat for the same offence, their smile never wavering, their eyes glinting with delight as your blood stains their lips. Their punishments are creative and cruel, designed to break not just your body but your spirit, locked into the dungeon with their pets, creatures that gibber and claw in the dark, their forms a nightmare of teeth and shadow. Forced to stand motionless for hours as they feed nearby, their lips grazing your skin, their breath cold against your neck, their hunger a promise of pain. Or simply drained and discarded, your body tossed into a pit where no one will find you, your name erased, your existence forgotten. The castle's hierarchy is rigid and unforgiving, a chain of oppression forged in fear and blood. At the top are the vampire lords, ageless and untouchable, their power absolute, their whims the law of this forsaken place. They're not human, not anymore, their souls, if they ever had them, burned away by whatever curse or pact made them what they are. Their eyes hold no warmth, no pity, only a cold, predatory hunger that sees you as nothing. A spark to be snuffed out, a meal to be savoured, a toy to be broken. Below them are their loyal human stewards, men and women who've traded their humanity for a sliver of power and the faint hope of immortality, their eyes cold as ice, their smiles as sharp as knives, their loyalty bought with promises of the blood gift, or the terror of something far worse. They enforce the vampire's will with ruthless efficiency, their hands stained with the blood of those they've betrayed, their hearts hardened by years of service. At the bottom are you and the other servants, expendable and replaceable, your lives worth less than the wax candles you burn through each night, your existence a mere flicker in the castle's eternal darkness. The stewards watch you as closely as the vampires, their eyes glinting with suspicion, their voices barking orders that brook no delay. A moment's pause, a misplaced tool, a muttered curse, they see it all, and they report it. Their loyalty to the vampires absolute, their humanity a distant memory. Some servants, naive or desperate, dream of rising in the ranks, of catching a vampire's favour and being chosen for the blood gift, the transformation into one of the undead. But the veterans know better, their whispers filled with horror. Those who are chosen rarely survive the transformation, their screams echoing through the halls as their bodies twist and break, their bones shattering, their minds shattering under the weight of eternity. Those who do emerge are no longer human, their souls hollowed out, their eyes empty as glass, their movements jerky and unnatural, their hunger a chain that binds them to the vampire's will. The blood gift is no reward, it's a curse, a fate worse than death, a reminder that even in survival there's no escape from the vampire's dominion. You try to focus on your tasks, to keep your head down, to survive another hour, another day, but the weight of their society, their hierarchy, their eternity presses on you, a reminder that you're nothing, a spark in their endless night, a life they can claim at any moment, your blood, a momentary pleasure in their eternal feast. The history of this vampire-haunted castle is a forbidden tapestry, a labyrinth of secrets so tightly woven with threads of blood, betrayal, and unspeakable power that to speak of it is to invite doom. It binds you tighter than any chain, its weight a constant pressure on your soul, a reminder that the castle is not just a structure, but a living entity, its stones steeped in centuries of horror, its shadows whispering truths you're not meant to know. The steward, a gaunt figure whose eyes dart nervously as if the walls themselves are listening, speaks of the castle's origins in hushed, trembling tones, his words fragmented and cautious, as if each syllable risks summoning the vampire's wrath. He hints at ancient curses, pacts forged with forces older than the stars, entities whose names are unpronounceable, their power so vast it warps the air, twisting your thoughts into knots of fear. Some tales claim the castle was built on a site of primordial evil, its foundations laid over an altar where blood flowed freely, where sacrifices, human, animal, or something worse, were offered to appease things that should not exist. The stones, they say, are soaked in that blood, each one carved with runes that pulse faintly in the dark, their glow a sickly, unnatural light that seems to breathe, to hunger, to watch. Others insist the vampires themselves built the castle, stone by stone over centuries, each block hewn from quarries cursed by their touch, imbued with their will, a monument to their eternal hunger, a prison designed to trap their prey in an endless cycle of servitude and despair. These stories are not mere folklore. They are warnings, etched into the very fabric of the castle, visible in the tapestries that line the great hall, their faded threads depicting scenes that chill your blood. Hunts under blood-red moons, where pale figures with glowing eyes chase screaming humans through twisted forests. Feasts where the guests are the meal, their faces frozen in terror as fangs sink into their flesh. Rituals that defy comprehension, with symbols that hurt your eyes, and chants that echo in your mind long after you've looked away. The coffins in the vampires' chambers, carved with spirals, claws, and eyes that seem to follow you, are not just resting places but altars, their wood saturated with the blood of countless victims, their surfaces warm to the touch as if alive. The cellar, with its dripping tunnels and locked doors, holds secrets too horrific to imagine. Prisoners, perhaps, kept alive for their blood, their screams muffled by stone, or worse, things summoned by the vampires, creatures that gibber and claw in the dark, their forms defying nature, their existence a violation of everything you hold sacred. The stewards' tales, fragmented as they are, paint a picture of a castle born from betrayal, nobles who sought power and found damnation, kings who traded their souls for immortality, priests who turned from their gods to worship things that slither in the void. Each story is a piece of a puzzle you'll never solve, a riddle too dangerous to contemplate, for to seek the truth is to draw the vampires' attention, and their attention is a death sentence. The castle's past is not just a mystery, it's a force that shapes your present, a weight that presses on your mind, a shadow that darkens your every thought. The runes on the walls, barely visible in the flickering torchlight, seem to shift when you're not looking, forming patterns that tug at your sanity, whispering words you can't quite hear. The air in certain corridors feels heavy, charged with an energy that makes your skin prickle, your hair stand on end, as if the castle itself is alive, its stones sentient, its silence a voice that speaks of suffering and sacrifice. You've heard whispers from other servants, passed in hurried moments between tasks, of rooms that should not exist, chambers that appear and vanish, their doors unmarked, their interiors filled with shadows that move on their own, of staircases that lead nowhere, spiraling into darkness that swallows light, of mirrors that reflect not your face but hers, pale and eyeless, their mouths open in silent screams. These tales are forbidden, spoken only in the dead of night, when the vampires are sated and the stewards distracted, but even then, the walls seem to listen, their silence a judgment, their presence a threat. Some servants, driven by desperation or madness, speak of rebellion, of ways to end the vampire's reign. Garlic, its pungent scent said to ward them off, hung in doorways or crushed into poultices. Holy symbols, crosses or relics stolen from forgotten chapels, their touch burning vampire flesh like fire. A stake through the heart, driven deep to pierce their cursed immortality. Sunlight, its rays a cleansing flame that reduces their bodies to ash, but these whispers are a death wish, each word a risk that the castle itself will betray you. The vampires know everything that happens within these walls, as if the stones are their eyes, the shadows their spies, the silence their voice. You've heard tales of servants who dared to fight back, their courage a fleeting spark snuffed out by the vampire's wrath. They're found the next morning, their bodies twisted in ways that defy nature, limbs bent backward at impossible angles, spines arched until they snap, eyes staring blankly into nothingness, mouths frozen in silent screams, their blood painting the walls in crimson warnings no one can ignore. These deaths are not accidents, they're spectacles, lessons crafted with care, each one a message that resistance is futile, that the vampire's power is absolute, that the castle is their domain and you are their prey. The bodies are left on display, hung from rafters or sprawled across the great hall. Their faces a gallery of terror, their wounds a map of the vampire's cruelty. Until the stewards order them removed, their remains tossed into pits where no one will mourn them. The castle's history is not just a tale of the past, it's a living force that shapes your every moment, a reminder that you're a pawn in a game older than your life, your family, your world. The vampire's eternity is a weight you feel in your bones, their ageless gaze a constant reminder of your mortality, your fragility, your insignificance. You try to focus on survival, on obedience, on keeping your head down and your heart still, but the castle's secrets gnaw at you, a puzzle that tempts you even as it terrifies you. To seek answers is to court death, but to ignore them is to surrender to ignorance, to become a shadow among shadows, a ghost in a world that feeds on your fear. The steward's warnings, the rune's pulse, the tapestry's gaze, they all tell you the same thing. The castle is not just a place. It's a predator, its hunger as insatiable as the vampires, its will as unyielding, its history a chain that binds you tighter than iron. Food is a constant struggle, a cruel reminder of your mortality in a world ruled by immortals who need only blood to sustain them. The servant's diet is a mockery of nourishment, a punishment designed to keep you alive but never whole, your body crying out for sustenance it will never receive. Breakfast is a bowl of thin gruel, its grey surface slick with grease, its taste a blend of ash, mould and despair. Each spoonful a struggle against nausea. If you're lucky, you might get a crust of stale bread, its surface crawling with green mould, its edges sharp enough to cut your mouth, its fibres sticking in your throat like thorns. You chew slowly, not out of savouring but necessity, your jaw aching, your stomach churning as you force it down, knowing it's all you'll have until midday. Lunch offers no reprieve, a sliver of salted meat tough as leather, its flavour sharp with iron and decay, its texture tearing at your gums until they bleed, each bite a small agony that leaves you weaker. Dinner is more of the same, the pot scraped clean by desperate hands, the stronger servants shoving the weaker aside to claim the scraps, their hunger a beast that knows no mercy. You've seen fights break out over a single turnip, fists flying, nails clawing, until the stewards intervene with whips and curses, their authority absolute, their cruelty a mirror of the vampires. Fresh produce is a myth, a memory from a world beyond these walls, available only a few weeks a year when the castle's small, neglected garden yields a meagre crop. The turnips are small and bitter, their roots caked with dirt, their flesh tough as wood. The onions are shriveled, their layers slimy, their sting bringing tears to your eyes that you can't afford to shed. The greens are wilted, their leaves speckled with blight, eaten raw because there's no time to cook, their taste a fleeting reminder of sunlight, of life, of hope. You can't allow yourself to feel. You hoard these scraps, hiding them in your tunic, risking the steward's whip for a bite of something fresh, something that doesn't taste of death. But even these are rare, and most days your diet is gruel and gristle, a cycle of starvation that leaves you hollow, your ribs pressing against your skin, your muscles wasting until lifting a broom feels like lifting a boulder. Scurvy is a constant companion, its symptoms creeping in as your body starves for vitality. Your gums bleed, staining your teeth red, the pain sharp and unrelenting, each bite a torture that makes eating a battle. Your teeth loosen, rattling in your mouth, some falling out, leaving gaps that make chewing even harder. Your hunger, a cycle of suffering that feeds on itself. Your skin bruises at the slightest touch, purple blotches spreading like ink. Your joints aching as if they're grinding against each other. Your bones brittle from lack of nourishment. You're expected to keep working despite this. Your body pushed beyond its limits. Your vision blurring. Your limbs trembling. Your mind clouded by the constant gnawing in your gut. The vampires don't care about your nutrition. Their sustenance comes from buckets of thick, red liquid, hauled from the cellar, its metallic smell turning your stomach, its origin a horror you can't face. Prisoners, perhaps, or servants who disappeared after a mistake, their blood drained to feed the Lord's hunger. You try not to think about it, but the weight of the buckets, the sticky residue on your hands, makes it impossible to forget. Sometimes you're tasked with slaughtering livestock for the human staff, a duty that leaves its own scars. The pigs squeal as you drive the knife home, their blood hot on your hands, their eyes staring as they die, their screams echoing in your dreams long after the task is done. The act is a trauma, a reminder of your own fragility, your own blood a temptation to the vampires who pass by, their nostrils flaring as they catch the scent. The best cuts of meat go to the stewards, their plates piled high with glistening pork, while you're left with gristle, bones and offal, its sourness churning in your stomach, its texture a nausea you can't escape. You chew on bones, cracking them for the marrow, your teeth aching, your hunger a beast that grows stronger with every bite. The constant starvation is a weight that drags at your limbs, clouds your mind, makes every task feel insurmountable, each step heavier than the last, each breath a battle against collapse. You dream of feasts, tables laden with fruits, breads, meats, their colours vivid, their smells intoxicating. But you wake to gruel, to hunger, to a reality where food is a punishment, not a pleasure. Disease is an ever-present threat, a silent killer as deadly as the vampires themselves, lurking in the castle's damp, filthy corners, waiting to claim you when your body is too weak to fight. The air is thick with mold spores, their musty stench clinging to your lungs, each breath a gamble with your health. The water from the well is cloudy, tasting of iron and decay, its surface rippling with unseen pathogens, a poison you can't avoid. The privies, overflowing pits in the courtyard, release a miasma that seeps through the stone walls, a noxious cloud of waste and rot that coats your throat, stings your eyes and carries sickness to every corner. Flies swarm in buzzing hordes, settling on your skin, your food, your wounds, their wings a harbinger of suffering, their touch a vector for disease. Every contact, brushing against a fellow servant, gripping a shared tool, lying on a straw pallet crawling with vermin, is a risk, a moment where death slips past your defences. Dysentery strikes without warning, its onset sudden and merciless, leaving you doubled over, with cramps that twist your insides like a wrung cloth. You huddle near the privy, your body purging itself in violent spasms, each wave of diarrhea draining your strength, your hydration, your will to live. Dehydration sets in, your mouth dry as ash, your lips cracking, your vision blurring as you struggle to stand, the steward's whip a constant threat in your nightmares, its crack echoing in your fevered mind. You force yourself to move, dragging your weakened body through tasks, each step a battle against collapse, each moment a prayer that the vampires don't notice your frailty, their eyes glinting with hunger at the scent of your weakness. Typhus, carried by the lice that infest your clothes, your bedding, your skin, is another scourge, its fever burning through you like wildfire, your body shaking, sweat soaking your tunic as you mutter prayers to gods who seem to have forsaken this cursed place. Delirium creeps in, your mind a haze of visions, shadows with glowing eyes, hands reaching from the walls, voices whispering your name in languages you don't understand, their tones mocking, menacing, eternal. Smallpox, when it sweeps through the castle, is a nightmare of flesh and pain, its pustules erupting across your skin like volcanic sores, each one a burning, itching torment that drives you to claw at yourself, worsening the infection. Survivors are left scarred, their faces a grotesque roadmap of suffering, their eyes haunted by the memory of agony, their disfigurement a badge of the castle's cruelty. Cholera lurks in the tainted water, its rapid onset turning your body into a traitor, vomiting and diarrhea stripping you of fluids until you are husk, your pulse weak, your skin cold and clammy. Plague, the Black Death, is a whispered terror. Its swollen lymph nodes and blackened fingers a death sentence that spreads like wildfire through the crowded quarters. Tuberculosis claims others slowly, their lungs rotting from within, their coughs bloody, their gasps a grim symphony in the night. The castle's physician is a figure of dread, not hope, his knowledge rooted in superstition, his treatments a torture worse than the illness. He believes disease is a matter of unbalanced humours, of spirits angered or blood corrupted. and his remedies are a nightmare of pain and futility. Leeches are his first resort, their slimy bodies sucking what little strength you have left, their bites leaving welts that itch and bleed, inviting further infection. Bloodletting follows, his rusty lancet slicing into your arm, the warm rush of blood draining into a bowl as you grow faint, your vision darkening, your heart stuttering. His poultices, concocted from animal dung, mouldy herbs and rancid fat, burn like acid when applied, their stench a prelude to death, their texture a slimy horror that makes your skin crawl. He mutters about purging the body's corruption, his voice a droning chant as you writhe in agony, your screams ignored or dismissed as signs of the devil's grip. His remedies for fever include wrapping you in damp, mildewed cloths, chilling your shivering body, or forcing you to drink concoctions of boiled roots and urine, their taste gagging you as they churn in your stomach. If you protest, he accuses you of heresy, his eyes glinting with zeal, his hand reaching for a whip to drive out the evil spirits he claims inhabit you. His presence is a curse, his touch a poison, his ignorance a death sentence cloaked in false wisdom. Injuries, common in the castle's grueling labour, are another gateway to death. A slip of the knife while chopping wood leaves a gash that weeps blood, the blade's rust mingling with your flesh, inviting infection. A burn from the hearth, its embers spitting as you stoke the fire, blisters your skin, the pain a constant throb that distracts you from your tasks. A fall on the uneven stone stairs, your ankle twisting or your wrist snapping, leaves you hobbled, your work slowed, your vulnerability exposed. These wounds fester in the castle's filth, the skin around a cut swelling red and hot, pus oozing as the pain deepens to a bone-aching torment. Sepsis sets in, your body swelling with poison, your limbs blackening as the infection consumes you, your fever spiking until you're shaking, your teeth chattering, your mind clouded with delirium. You beg for mercy, for relief, for death, but none comes. The steward demands you work, the physician's treatments worsen your suffering, and the vampires, immune to human ailments, watch with glinting eyes, their tongues flicking across their lips, their hunger a promise of a fate worse than death, their amusement a cruel mockery of your pain. The psychological strain of existing in this vampire-haunted castle is a torment beyond compare, a slow, relentless erosion of your sanity that surpasses the agony of hunger, the bite of cold, or the ravages of disease. It's a poison that seeps into your mind, insidious and inescapable, twisting your thoughts until you're no longer certain where you end and the castle's malevolence begins. Every moment is a tightrope walk over an abyss, your nerves frayed to the breaking point, your senses sharpened to a painful edge by the constant threat of annihilation. You're perpetually on guard, your ears straining for the faintest hint of danger. The soft tread of a vampire's boots, so silent they might be imagined, yet so real they send your heart racing. The rustle of their cloak, a whisper of fabric that could be the wind or a predator closing in. Or, worst of all, the faint, eerie laughter that echoes through the halls at night, a sound that seems to emanate from the stones themselves, wrapping around you like a noose, tightening with every breath. That laughter is not human, not joyful, it's a cruel, mocking cadence, a chorus of predators savouring the fear they inspire, its pitch shifting to match the rhythm of your panic, its presence a violation of your soul. You learn to dread it, to flinch at every sound that might herald its arrival, a creak of the floorboards, a sigh of the wind, a whisper of your name in the dark that might be your imagination or the vampire's cruel jest. Sleep, if it comes at all, is a treacherous mirage, a fleeting refuge shattered by nightmares that bleed into reality, leaving you gasping and trembling in the cold, damp darkness of the servants' quarters. You dream of sharp teeth sinking into your flesh, the pain so vivid you wake with a scream caught in your throat, of cold hands pinning you against stone, their grip unyielding, their touch draining your warmth, your life, your hope. Of glowing eyes red as embers that follow you through endless corridors, their gaze burning through your soul, stripping away your defenses until you're nothing but a trembling, exposed creature, prey in a world of predators. These nightmares linger, their images seared into your waking mind, blending with the castle's shadows until you can't tell dream from truth. You wake to the same oppressive silence, broken only by the distant howl of wolves outside, their mournful cries a reminder of the untamed wilderness that surrounds you, as merciless as the vampires within. The creak of ancient timbers, settling under centuries of weight, mimics footsteps, each one a potential threat that sets your pulse racing. The occasional scream from a distant corridor, rare but unforgettable, cuts through the night, sharp and desperate, then stops abruptly, leaving a silence that's worse than any sound, a void that swallows hope and leaves only dread. You lie awake, staring into the blackness, wondering if the scream was real or a trick of your fraying mind, if it was a servant like you or something else, something the vampires keep locked away in the castle's depths, its fate a warning etched in the air. Your mind begins to betray you, a creeping dread that grows with every sleepless night, every moment of terror. Are you losing your sanity, or have the vampires already claimed it? Their influence a subtle, insidious power that weaves through your thoughts like poison, planting doubts and fears to keep you compliant. The other servants whisper of the influence, a force that bends your will, making you question your actions, your memories, your very self. Did you forget to lock that window because you were exhausted? Or because they wanted it open, a trap to test your vigilance, a chance to punish your failure with their teeth? Did you drop that goblet by accident, its crimson contents spilling like blood? Or did their gaze make your hands tremble, betraying you to their hunger? The veterans, their eyes hollow and their voices low, warn you never to look into a vampire's eyes for too long, lest they steal your will. But their gaze is a vortex, a trap that pulls you in, its red glow stripping away your defenses, exposing your fears, your secrets, your soul. You try to keep your eyes down, your head bowed, but their presence is a weight, a pressure that makes every moment feel like surrender, every act of obedience a step closer to annihilation. You start to second-guess every action, every thought. Did you misplace that key? Or did they take it, planting it somewhere to frame you? Did you hear your name whispered in the dark? Or was it the castle itself, its stones alive with malice, mocking your fragility? The line between reality and paranoia blurs, your mind a battlefield where the vampires hold every advantage, their influence a shadow that darkens your every thought. The isolation of the castle amplifies this strain, a psychological prison as confining as its stone walls. You're cut off from the world, miles from the nearest village, surrounded by dense forests or desolate moors that seem to whisper with unseen threats. No letters arrive, no news reaches you, no hope of rescue flickers in the distance. The other servants offer no solace. They're a mix of terrified newcomers, their eyes wide with panic, and hollow-eyed veterans who've seen too much to speak of it, their silence a warning in itself. Friendships are impossible when trust is a luxury you can't afford, when every glance could be a betrayal, when every kind word a trap to lure you into complacency. The vampires encourage this division, their influence sowing distrust, their punishments ensuring that no one dares to bond too closely. You long for connection, for the warmth of a friend's laugh, the comfort of a shared story. But you find only suspicion, silence, and the constant fear that someone might report you to the stewards, or worse, to the vampires. For a moment of weakness, a whispered complaint, a fleeting hope of escape. The loneliness is a weight, a chain that binds your heart, making every task heavier, every moment darker, every breath a reminder of your solitude. The castle's hierarchy is a rigid chain of oppression, a brutal system forged in fear, blood, and the promise of power, each link a testament to the vampire's dominion. At the apex are the vampire lords, ageless and untouchable, their power absolute, their whims the law of this forsaken place. They move like shadows, their presence a cold, suffocating weight, their eyes red and unyielding, their voices smooth as velvet but laced with menace. They're not human, not anymore. Their souls, if they ever had them, burned away by whatever curse or pact made them what they are. Their hunger is eternal, their cruelty boundless, their amusement derived from your fear, your pain, your desperation. They don't negotiate, they don't forgive, and they don't forget. A single mistake, a spilled goblet, a creaking floorboard, a glance too long, draws their attention, and their attention is fatal. Below them are their loyal human stewards, men and women who've traded their humanity for a sliver of power and the faint hope of immortality. Their eyes cold as ice, their smiles as sharp as knives, their loyalty bought with promises of the blood gift, or the terror of something far worse. These stewards are the vampire's enforcers, their hands stained with the blood of those they've betrayed, their hearts hardened by years of service. They patrol the halls with ruthless efficiency, their gazes sharp and unyielding, quick to report any mistake, any hesitation, any whisper of defiance. They're not your allies, they're your jailers, their ambition a chain that binds them to the vampires, their fear a whip that drives you to obey. At the bottom of this hierarchy are you and the other servants, expendable and replaceable, your lives worth less than the wax candles you burn through each night, your existence a mere spark in the castle's eternal darkness. You're nothing to the vampires, a fleeting resource to be used and discarded, your blood a momentary pleasure in their endless feast. The stewards watch you as closely as the vampires, their eyes glinting with suspicion, their voices barking orders that brook no delay. A moment's pause, a misplaced tool, a muttered curse under your breath, they see it all, and they report it. Their loyalty to the vampires absolute, their humanity a distant memory. Some servants, naive or desperate, dream of rising in the ranks, of catching a vampire's favour and being chosen for the blood gift, the transformation into one of the undead, but the veterans know better. Their whispers filled with horror. Those who are chosen rarely survive the transformation, their screams echoing through the halls as their bodies twist and break, their bones snapping, their flesh tearing, their minds shattering under the weight of eternity. Those who do emerge are no longer human, their souls hollowed out, their eyes empty as glass, their movements jerky and unnatural, their humanity a distant memory replaced by a hunger they can't control. The blood gift is no reward, it's a curse, a fate worse than death, a reminder that even in survival there's no escape from the vampire's dominion. The castle's history is a forbidden tapestry, a web of secrets woven with threads of blood, betrayal, and unspeakable power, its truth a riddle too dangerous to unravel. The steward, his voice low and trembling as if the walls themselves are listening, hints at ancient curses that bind the vampire lords to this place, pacts with forces older than the stars, entities whose names burn the tongue and twist the mind. Some whisper that the castle was built on a site of primordial evil, its foundations laid over an altar where blood flowed freely, where sacrifices were made to things that should not be, their screams still echoing in the stones. Each block, they say, is carved with runes that pulse faintly in the dark, their power alive and hungry, feeding on the fear and blood of those who dwell within. Others claim the vampires themselves built the castle, stone by stone, over centuries, each block imbued with their will, a monument to their unending dominion, a prison for their prey. The tapestries in the great hall, faded but vivid, depict scenes that chill your blood. Hunts under blood-red moons, feasts where the guests are the meal, rituals that twist the mind and soul, their figures moving when you're not looking, their eyes following you through the halls. The coffins in the vampires' chambers, carved with spirals and claws, are not just resting places but altars, their wood soaked in blood, their presence a reminder of the vampire's eternity. The cellar, with its dripping tunnels and locked doors, holds secrets you don't want to know. Prisoners, perhaps, kept alive for their blood, or worse, things the vampires summon for their amusement, their screams a faint echo that reaches you in the night. The truth of the castle's origins is a knowledge you'll never gain, a riddle too perilous to seek. To ask questions is to invite the vampire's attention, and their attention is fatal. Some servants, driven by desperation or madness, speak of rebellion, of ways to kill the vampires, garlic to ward them off, its pungent scent a barrier they can't cross, holy symbols to burn their flesh, their power drawn from faiths you barely remember. A stake through the heart to end their curse, its wood piercing their immortal flesh. Sunlight to reduce their bodies to ash, its rays a fire they can't withstand. But even whispering these words feels like inviting death, a betrayal the castle itself seems to hear. The vampires know everything that happens within these walls, as if the stones are their eyes, the shadows their spies, the silence their voice. You've heard tales of servants who dared to fight back, their courage snuffed out like a candle in the wind, found the next morning with bodies twisted in ways that defy nature, limbs bent backward, spines arched in impossible angles, eyes staring blankly, mouths frozen in silent screams, their blood painting the walls in warnings no one can ignore. Their deaths were not quick, they were spectacles, lessons etched in flesh and stone, a reminder that resistance is futile, that the vampire's power is absolute, that the castle is their domain and you are their prey. Food is a daily struggle, a cruel reminder of your mortality in a world ruled by immortals who need no sustenance but blood. The servant's diet is a mockery of nourishment, barely enough to keep you alive, a punishment that leaves you hollow and weak, your body crying out for sustenance it can't have. Breakfast is a bowl of thin gruel, its grey surface slick with grease, its taste of ash and mould, its texture a slimy insult to your hunger. If you're lucky, you might get a crust of stale bread, its surface crawling with mould, its edges sharp enough to cut your mouth, its fibres sticking in your throat as you choke it down. Lunch offers no relief. A sliver of salted meat, tough as leather, tasting of ash and iron, its fibres tearing at your gums as you chew through the pain, your jaw aching from the effort. Dinner is more of the same, the pot scraped clean by desperate hands, the scraps fought over like dogs in the street, the strongest taking what little there is, leaving the weak to starve. Fresh produce is a distant memory, a myth from a world beyond these walls, available only a few weeks a year when the castle's small, neglected garden yields a meagre crop of turnips, onions or wilted greens, their roots caked with dirt, their leaves bitter and tough, eaten raw because there's no time to cook, their taste a fleeting reminder of life, of sunlight, of hope you can't afford to feel. Scurvy is a constant threat, its symptoms creeping in as your diet lacks even the barest hint of vitality. Your gums bleed, staining your teeth red, the pain sharp and constant, each bite a small agony that leaves you weaker. Your teeth loosen, rattling in your mouth, some falling out, leaving gaps that make eating even harder. Your hunger, a cycle of suffering that feeds on itself. Your skin bruises at the slightest touch, purple blotches spreading like ink, your joints aching as if they're grinding against each other. The vampires don't care about your nutrition. They have their own sustenance. Buckets of thick, red liquid hauled from the cellar, its metallic smell turning your stomach, its origin a horror you can't face. You're expected to keep working despite hunger and weakness, your body pushed to its limits and beyond, your vision blurring, your limbs trembling, your mind clouded by the gnawing need for food. Sometimes you're tasked with slaughtering livestock for the human staff, the pigs squealing as you drive the knife home, their blood hot on your hands, their eyes staring as they die. The act is a trauma, the sound of their screams echoing in your dreams. But the best cuts go to the stewards, their plates piled high with meat, while you're left with gristle, bones and offal, its sourness churning in your stomach, its texture a nausea you can't escape. The constant hunger is a beast within you, sapping your strength, clouding your mind, making every task feel like climbing a mountain, each step heavier than the last, each breath a battle against collapse. The psychological toll of this hunger compounds your mental strain, a vicious cycle that leaves you vulnerable to the vampire's influence. You dream of food, not the gruel or gristle you're given, but feasts from another life. Tables laden with fruits, breads, meats, their colours vivid, their smells intoxicating. These dreams are a torture, waking you with a hunger so fierce it feels like a knife in your gut, your mouth watering, your hands shaking as you reach for a bowl of grey sludge. The veterans warn you not to dwell on these dreams, to bury your hunger deep. But it's impossible when every moment is a reminder of your body's betrayal, your mind's fragility, your soul's imprisonment. The vampires seem to sense this weakness, their eyes lingering on you when you falter, their smiles widening as your stomach growls, their laughter a taunt that echoes in your mind. They know hunger too, but theirs is a choice, a pleasure. Yours is a chain, a reminder that you're human, mortal, breakable, theirs. The castle's atmosphere feeds this psychological torment. It's every element designed to break you. The darkness is not just an absence of light, it's a presence, a living thing that presses against you, whispering your fears, promising oblivion. The shadows move when you're not looking, their edges sharp, their forms hinting at claws, eyes, teeth that vanish when you turn. The air is heavy with the weight of centuries, each breath tasting of dust, decay, and the blood of those who came before you. their lives snuffed out in these same halls. The silence is a weapon, a crushing weight that amplifies every sound. The drip of water in the cellar, the skitter of rats in the walls, the faint, rhythmic tapping from a locked room you're forbidden to enter. The castle feels alive, its stones watching, its corridors shifting, its doors creaking open just enough to tempt you into exploring, into crossing a line you can't uncross. You start to believe the castle is complicit, an extension of the vampire's will, its malice a mirror of their own, its hunger a reflection of theirs. You feel it in your bones, a certainty that the castle wants you broken, wants your blood, wants your soul, and every moment you survive is a defiance it resents. The veterans among the servants are your only guides in this nightmare, but their guidance is a cold comfort, their words laced with warning, their eyes empty of hope. They've survived by becoming less than human, their spirits worn thin by years of fear and submission, their lives a series of calculated surrenders. They teach you to move silently, to keep your eyes down, to suppress every instinct that screams for freedom or rebellion. They tell you to forget your name, your past, your dreams, to become a shadow among shadows, a ghost in the vampire's world. But even they are not immune to the psychological strain. You see it in their trembling hands, their muttered prayers, their flinches at every sound. Some crack under the pressure, their minds breaking in quiet, devastating ways. One stops speaking, staring blankly at the walls. Another laughs at nothing, the sound brittle and wrong. A third walks into the cellar one night and never returns. Their fate, a mystery you don't dare unravel. The veterans warn you of these fates, their voices low and urgent, but their warnings only deepen your dread, a reminder that survival is not victory, that endurance is not escape, that the castle will claim you in the end, one way or another. The psychological strain is a war you fight alone, a battle with no allies, no weapons, no hope of victory. You're used to a world where mental health is acknowledged, where therapy, medication, or a kind word can ease your burdens. Here, there's no such relief, no one to listen, no way to heal. Your fears, your doubts, your despair, they fester, growing like mold in the castle's damp corners, spreading until they consume you. You try to hold on to yourself, to remember who you were before the castle, but the memories slip through your fingers, replaced by the vampire's gaze, the castle's silence, the endless, unchanging nightmare of your existence. You're not just fighting for your life, you're fighting for your mind, your soul, your humanity. And every moment you survive is a victory that feels like defeat, a step closer to the inevitable moment when the castle, the vampires, the darkness claim you at last. The disease in this vampire-haunted castle is not merely an inconvenience. It is a relentless, omnipresent enemy, a silent assassin as lethal as the vampires who stalk its halls. The castle's damp, filthy conditions are a cauldron of pestilence, brewing illness in every corner, every breath, every drop of water you dare to drink. The air is thick with mold spores, their musty stench clinging to your lungs, each inhale a gamble with your health. The water from the castle's well, cloudy and tasting of iron and decay, is a breeding ground for unseen pathogens, its surface rippling with the ghosts of those who drank too deeply. The privies, overflowing pits in the courtyard, release a miasma that seeps through the stone walls, a noxious cloud of human waste and rot that coats your throat and stings your eyes. Flies swarm in buzzing hordes, settling on your skin, your food, your wounds, carrying disease from one servant to another, their wings a harbinger of suffering. Every touch, brushing against a fellow servant, gripping a shared tool, lying on a straw pallet crawling with vermin, is a potential infection, a moment where death slips past your defences. Even your breath, shared in the cramped servants' quarters, is a vector for illness, each exhale mingling with the coughs and wheezes of those already afflicted. Dysentery strikes like a thief in the night, its onset sudden and merciless, leaving you doubled over with cramps that twist your insides like a wrung cloth. You huddle near the privy, your body purging itself in violent spasms, each wave of diarrhea draining your strength, your hydration, your will to live. Dehydration sets in quickly, your mouth dry as ash, your lips cracking, your vision blurring as you struggle to stand. You're too sick to work, but the steward's whip looms in your nightmares, its crack echoing in your fevered mind, a reminder that rest is a luxury you can't afford. You force yourself to move, dragging your weakened body through tasks, each step a battle against collapse, each moment a prayer that the vampires don't notice your frailty. Typhus, carried by the fleas and lice that infest your clothes, your bedding, your very skin, is another scourge, its fever burning through you like wildfire. Your body shakes uncontrollably, sweat soaking your tunic as you mutter prayers to gods who seem to have forsaken this cursed place. Delirium creeps in, your mind a haze of visions, shadows with glowing eyes, hands reaching from the walls, voices whispering your name in languages you don't understand. You see faces of those who've vanished, their eyes accusing, their mouths open in silent screams, and you wonder if they're real, or if the fever has claimed your sanity. Smallpox, when it sweeps through the castle, is a nightmare of flesh and pain, its pustules erupting across your skin like volcanic sores, each one a burning, itching torment. Those it doesn't kill are left scarred, their faces a grotesque roadmap of suffering, their eyes haunted by the memory of agony. Survivors are marked for life, their disfigurement a badge of the castle's unrelenting cruelty, a reminder that even survival comes at a cost. Cholera, too, lurks in the tainted water, its rapid onset turning your body into a traitor, vomiting and diarrhea stripping you of fluids until you're a husk, your pulse weak, your skin cold and clammy. Plague, the Black Death itself, is a whispered terror, its swollen lymph nodes and blackened fingers a death sentence that spreads like wildfire through the crowded quarters. Tuberculosis, with its bloody cough and wasting frame, claims others slowly, their lungs rotting from within as they choke on their own blood, their gasps a grim symphony in the night. The castle's physician is a relic of a bygone age, a figure of dread rather than hope, his knowledge rooted in superstition and error. He believes disease is a matter of unbalanced humours, of spirits angered or blood corrupted, and his treatments are a torture worse than the illness itself. Leeches are his first resort, their slimy bodies sucking what little strength you have left, their bites leaving welts that itch and bleed, inviting further infection. Bloodletting follows, his rusty lancet slicing into your arm, the warm rush of blood draining into a bowl as you grow faint, your vision darkening, your heart stuttering. His poultices, concocted from animal dung, mouldy herbs and rancid fat, burn like acid when applied, their stench a prelude to death, their texture a slimy horror that makes your skin crawl. He mutters about, purging the body's corruption, his voice a droning chant as you writhe in agony, your screams ignored or dismissed as signs of the devil's grip. His remedies for fever include wrapping you in damp, mildewed cloths, chilling your already shivering body, or forcing you to drink concoctions of boiled roots and urine, their taste gagging you as they churn in your stomach. If you protest, he accuses you of heresy, his eyes glinting with zeal, his hand reaching for a whip to drive out the evil spirits he claims inhabit you. His presence is a curse, his touch a poison, his ignorance a death sentence cloaked in false wisdom. Injuries, common in the grueling labour of the castle, are another gateway to death. A slip of the knife while chopping wood or peeling turnips leaves a gash that weeps blood, the blade's rust mingling with your flesh, inviting infection. A burn from the hearth, its embers spitting as you stoke the fire, blisters your skin, the pain a constant throb that distracts you from your tasks. A fall on the uneven stone stairs, your ankle twisting or your wrist snapping, leaves you hobbled, your work slowed, your vulnerability exposed. These wounds, minor in your modern world with its antiseptics and bandages, fester in the castle's filth. Infections spread like wildfire, the skin around a cut swelling red and hot, pus oozing as the pain deepens to a bone-aching torment. Sepsis sets in, your body swelling with poison, your limbs blackening as the infection consumes you, your fever spiking until you're shaking, your teeth chattering, your mind clouded with delirium. You beg for mercy, for relief, for death, but none comes. The steward demands you work, the physician's treatments worsen your suffering, and the vampires, untouched by human ailments, watch with glinting eyes, their tongues flicking across their lips, their hunger a promise of something far worse than death. They see your weakness as an invitation, your blood, tainted but warm, calling to their eternal thirst, their amusement a cruel mockery of your pain. The psychological strain of living in this castle is a slow, relentless assault on your sanity, a poison that seeps into your mind and refuses to let go, its tendrils wrapping around your thoughts until you're no longer sure who you are. You're always on edge, your nerves frayed to the breaking point, your body braced for the unseen threat that could strike at any moment. The soft tread of a vampire's boots, the rustle of their cloak, the faint, eerie laughter that echoes through the halls at night. These sounds haunt you, wrapping around you like a shroud, their source elusive, their intent malevolent. The laughter, in particular, is a weapon, a sound that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere, slithering through the stone walls, curling into your ears, chilling your blood. It's not the laughter of joy but of cruelty, of predators toying with prey. Its cadence a rhythm that matches your pounding heart, its pitch a blade that cuts through your defences. You learn to dread it, to flinch at every sound that might be its precursor, a creak, a sigh, a whisper of your name in the dark. Sleep, if it comes at all, is a cruel phantom, a fleeting refuge stolen by nightmares that blend with reality until you can't tell them apart. You dream of sharp teeth sinking into your flesh, of cold hands pinning you down, of eyes that burn into your soul, their red glow following you even into the darkness of your dreams. You wake, gasping, your heart racing, your body slick with sweat, only to find the darkness of the servants' quarters no less terrifying than your nightmare. The castle's silence is a crushing void, a weight that presses on your chest, broken only by the wolves' howls outside, their mournful cries a reminder of the wilderness that surrounds you, as untamed and merciless as the vampires within. The creak of ancient timbers, settling under their own weight, sounds like footsteps, each one a potential threat. The screams that pierce the night, rare but unforgettable, end too quickly, leaving a silence that's worse than any sound, a void that swallows hope and leaves only dread. You lie awake, staring into the blackness, wondering if the scream was real or imagined, if it was a servant like you or something else, something the vampires keep locked away in the castle's depths. You start to question your own mind, a creeping dread that grows with every sleepless night, every moment of terror. Are you losing your sanity? Or have the vampires already taken it, their influence a subtle, insidious power that weaves through your thoughts like a spider's web? Some servants whisper of the influence, a force that bends your will, making you doubt your actions, your memories, your very self. Did you leave that candle burning because you forgot, or because they wanted the flame to draw you closer, its light a beacon for their hunger? Did you stumble on the stairs because you were tired, or did their gaze make your legs falter, guiding you toward a fall that would leave you bleeding, vulnerable, theirs? The veterans warn you never to look into a vampire's eyes for too long, lest they steal your will. But their gaze is a trap, a vortex that pulls you in, stripping away your defenses until you're nothing but prey, trembling and exposed, your soul laid bare. You try to avoid it, keeping your eyes down, your head bowed, but their presence is a weight, a pressure that makes obedience feel like surrender. Resistance, a fleeting dream crushed by fear. The castle is a prison of the soul, its walls a labyrinth of despair, its shadows a cage for your hopes, your dreams, your humanity. You're trapped in a world where survival is a daily miracle, each moment a battle against odds that would break even the strongest spirits. The stone walls are not just barriers, they're alive with malice, their silence a judgment that weighs on your heart. The corridors twist and turn, leading you deeper into the castle's heart, each step a descent into despair. The shadows move when you're not looking, their edges sharp, their forms hinting at shapes, claws, eyes, teeth, that vanish when you turn. The air is heavy with the weight of centuries, each breath tasting of dust, decay, and the blood of those who came before you, their lives snuffed out in these same halls. You feel their presence, a chorus of ghosts whispering in the silence, their voices a warning you can't heed, their fates a mirror of your own. The vampires are eternal, their hunger insatiable, their power absolute, a force that consumes everything in its path, leaving nothing but ash and silence. They're not human, not anymore. Their souls burned away by whatever curse or pact made them what they are. Their eyes hold no warmth, no pity, only a cold, predatory hunger that sees you as nothing, a spark to be snuffed out, a meal to be savoured, a toy to be broken. Their laughter is a weapon, their silence a threat, their presence a weight that crushes your spirit. They move like shadows, silent and swift, their hands cold as ice, their strength unnatural, capable of snapping your neck with a flick of their wrist or pinning you against a wall as they feed. Their teeth a sharp, searing pain that drains your life drop by drop. They don't need to hunt you, you're already theirs, trapped in their domain, your every move watched, your every breath counted. Their eternity is a curse you feel in your bones, their ageless gaze a reminder of your mortality, your fragility, your insignificance. You're a fleeting moment in their endless night, your life a flicker they'll extinguish without thought, your blood a momentary pleasure in their eternal feast. The castle is their domain, a living thing steeped in centuries of blood and fear, its stones alive with malice, its silence a scream of triumph. Every crack in the walls, every stain on the floors tells a story of suffering, of lives consumed by the vampire's hunger, of souls broken by the castle's weight. The tapestries, faded but vivid, depict hunts under blood-red moons, feasts where the guests are the meal, rituals that twist the mind and soul. The coffins in the vampire's chambers, carved with runes that pulse faintly in the dark, are not just resting places, but altars, their wood soaked in blood, their presence a reminder of the vampire's dominion. The cellar, with its dripping tunnels and locked doors, holds secrets you don't want to know. Prisoners, perhaps, or worse. Things the vampires keep for their amusement, their screams a faint echo that reaches you in the night. The castle knows you, your fears, your weaknesses, and it exploits them, guiding you toward your doom with every step, every breath, every moment you dare to hope. Every task, every moment is a test, a chance to prove your worth, or to fail, your failure sealed with blood. Scrubbing the great hall, your knees aching, your hands raw, is a test of endurance, of obedience, of your ability to ignore the bloodstain's origins. Hauling firewood up spiral stairs, each step a gamble, is a test of strength, of balance, of your willingness to risk your life for the vampire's comfort. Serving at their feasts, your hands trembling as you pour their crimson wine, is a test of nerve, of precision, of your ability to suppress the scream rising in your throat. Cleaning their chambers, tiptoeing around their coffins, is a test of courage, of silence, of your ability to face death and walk away. Each test is rigged, the odds stacked against you, the consequences of failure, a fate worse than death, drained slowly, your life sipped away as they watch your eyes dim, or worse, turned into a thrall, your will stolen, your body a puppet for their amusement. You're not a hero, not a rebel, you're a servant, surviving hour by hour, your life a flicker in the castle's eternal night. The veterans among the servants, those who've lasted years in this nightmare, are not brave or noble, they're survivors, their humanity worn thin but unbroken, their eyes empty but alert, their hearts stilled against the terror. They've learned to move silently, to work tirelessly, to breathe in the vampire's presence, to endure the unendurable. They've buried their hopes, their dreams, their selves, deep where the vampires can't find them. Their lives a series of calculated surrenders, each one buying another day, another hour, another breath. You, with your modern sensibilities, your need for comfort, your instinct to question, to fight, to hope, you'd falter, your spirit breaking under the weight of a world that offers no reprieve, no mercy, no light. Why wouldn't you survive in this vampire-haunted castle, a fortress of stone and shadow where every breath is a gamble and every heartbeat a beacon to the predators within? Your modern world, with its soft edges and countless conveniences, has left you woefully unprepared for a life where danger is as constant as the air you breathe, where comfort is a forgotten dream, and safety a cruel lie whispered by the naive. You've grown accustomed to a world where clean water flows from a tap, where medicine heals with a pill or a shot, where food is abundant, colourful and nourishing, filling your body with vitality. You live in a world where light banishes shadows with the flick of a switch, where help is a phone call or a scream away, where community and connection are woven into the fabric of your daily life. Here, in the cold, damp heart of this medieval nightmare, None of those safeguards exist. The castle is a crucible designed to break the unprepared, and you, shaped by a life of relative ease, would crumble under its relentless weight. The physical toll alone would reduce you to a husk. The labour demanded of a servant here is not the kind you might imagine from a modern job, with scheduled breaks and ergonomic tools. It's endless, back-breaking, soul-crushing work that begins before dawn and stretches into the early hours of the next day. Picture yourself hauling buckets of murky water from a distant well, the wooden yoke digging into your shoulders, the weight pulling at your spine until it feels like it might Your hands, soft from typing or scrolling, would blister within hours, the skin splitting as you grip coarse ropes or scrub blood-stained flagstones with lye that burns like fire. Your muscles, unaccustomed to such relentless strain, would tear under the weight of firewood or the repetitive motion of kneading dough in a smoky kitchen. Your bones would ache with every step. The cold stone floors sending jolts of pain through your joints, each movement a reminder of your body's fragility. Without modern nutrition, protein shakes, balanced diets, or even a daily apple, your strength would erode, your body unable to repair itself. Malnutrition would set in quickly, your ribs pressing against your skin, your energy fading until even standing feels like a monumental task. The castle doesn't care for your limits. It demands everything, and when you have nothing left to give, it discards you. A psychological strain would be even more insidious, a slow, creeping poison that unravels your mind thread by thread. You're used to a world where fear is fleeting, a jump scare in a movie, a moment of anxiety before a deadline. Here, fear is your constant companion, a weight that presses on your chest, a shadow that follows every step. The vampire's gaze, cold and predatory, would strip away your confidence, their eyes seeming to see not just your actions but your thoughts, your doubts, your desperation. Every creak of a floorboard, every flicker of a candle would send your heart racing, your body braced for an attack that might come at any moment. The isolation would gnaw at you too, miles from any village, cut off from family, friends, or even the hope of rescue. The other servants, hardened by years of terror, offer no comfort. Their hollow eyes and terse warnings only deepen your dread. You'd miss the chatter of social media, the warmth of a phone call, the simple reassurance of another human voice. In their place, you'd have silence, broken only by the howl of wolves or the vampire's laughter, a sound that cuts through the darkness like a blade, chilling your blood and haunting your dreams. Those dreams, if you could sleep at all, would offer no escape. Nightmares of sharp teeth, glowing eyes, and cold hands would plague you, blending with reality until you couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. The vampire's influence, whispered about by the veterans, would creep into your mind, making you question your own actions. Did you spill that goblet because your hands were tired, or because their gaze made them tremble? Did you forget to lock that window by mistake, or did their will bend yours, guiding you toward your own doom? The constant vigilance would exhaust you, your mind fraying under the strain of never knowing when or if you'd make a fatal mistake. You're used to a world where mistakes have consequences, but they're rarely lethal. Here, a single error, a spilled drop of their crimson wine, a creaking floorboard in their chambers, a glance held too long could end you, your body vanishing into the shadows, your name erased as if you'd never existed. The psychological toll would leave you a hollow shell, trembling in the dark, your sense of self eroded by fear, doubt, and the relentless pressure of a world that offers no mercy. Disease would be another silent killer, lurking in the castle's damp, filthy corners, waiting to claim you when your body is too weak to fight. You're used to clean water, sanitized surfaces, and vaccines that shield you from the worst of nature's plagues. Here, the water from the well is cloudy, tasting of iron and something darker, its surface rippling with things you don't want to name. The air is thick with mould. The privies overflow with waste, and flies swarm every surface, carrying sickness from one servant to another. Dysentery would strike without warning, leaving you doubled over with cramps, your body purging itself until you're too weak to stand. Typhus, spread by the lice that infest your clothes and bedding, would burn through you with fever, your skin hot and your mind clouded with delirium. Smallpox, if it reached the castle, would scar your face or stop your heart, its pustules a grotesque mockery of life. The castle's physician, a relic of superstition, would offer no help. His leeches would drain your strength. His poultices of dung and herbs would infect your wounds, and his bloodletting would leave you faint and closer to death. A simple cut from a kitchen knife or a burn from the hearth could fester, the infection spreading until your limb blackens and your body shakes with sepsis, your pleas for mercy unanswered. Your immune system, untested by such horrors, would falter, and the vampires, untouched by human ailments, would watch your decline with indifference, their eyes glinting as your blood, still warm, calls to their hunger. Hunger itself would be a relentless foe, sapping your strength until you're too frail to stand, a shadow of your former self. You're used to 3 meals a day filled with variety, fresh salads, juicy fruits, steaming pasta, protein-packed smoothies that promise health and vitality. Here, food is a scarce, monotonous punishment, barely enough to keep you alive. Breakfast is a bowl of thin gruel, its surface slick with grease, its taste of ash and mould. Lunch might be a sliver of salted meat so tough it tears at your gums, or a crust of bread crawling with weevils, their tiny bodies crunching under your teeth. Dinner is more of the same, the pot scraped clean by desperate hands, the scraps fought over like dogs in the street. Fresh produce is a myth, available only a few weeks a year when the castle's neglected garden yields a meagre crop of bitter turnips or wilted greens. Eaten raw, because there's no time to cook, scurvy would set in, your gums bleeding, your teeth loosening until they rattle in your mouth, each bite a small agony. Malnutrition would hollow you out, your ribs pressing against your skin, your muscles wasting away until even lifting a broom feels like lifting a boulder. You're used to food that fuels you, that gives you energy and joy. Here, food is a reminder of your fragility, a chain that binds you to your suffering. The vampires themselves, those ancient, merciless predators, would be your ultimate undoing. They're not the brooding, romantic figures of modern stories torn between love and hunger. They're monsters, their humanity long since burned away, their eyes cold and predatory, their smiles a promise of pain. To them, you're nothing, a fleeting spark to be snuffed out, your blood a momentary pleasure in their eternal feast. They don't negotiate, they don't forgive, and they don't forget. A single mistake, a spilled goblet of their crimson wine, a creaking floorboard in their chambers, a glance held too long in their hypnotic gaze, would draw their attention, and their attention is fatal. They move like shadows, silent and swift, their hands cold as ice and strong as iron, capable of snapping your neck with a flick of their wrist. Their hunger is insatiable, their cruelty boundless, their amusement derived from your fear, your pain, your desperation. You're used to a world where predators are caged, where danger is distant, where you have the power to fight or flee. Here, you're prey, trapped in a cage of stone, your every move watched, your every breath counted. The vampires don't need to hunt you, you're already theirs, your life a thread they can cut at any moment. Your modern instincts would betray you at every turn. You're used to questioning authority, challenging injustice, seeking fairness. Here, obedience is survival, and defiance is death. The impulse to speak out, to demand better treatment, to resist the vampire's cruelty would rise in you, and it would be your downfall. A single word of protest, a moment of hesitation, a flicker of rebellion in your eyes would mark you, and the vampires would seize on it, their punishment swift and final. You're used to fighting for your rights, but here, fighting means a stake through your heart, or worse, a slow, deliberate draining, your life sipped away as they watch your eyes dim. Your instinct to hope, to dream of escape, to believe in a better tomorrow would weaken you, making you vulnerable to the castle's despair. The veterans among the servants have learned to suppress those instincts, to bury their hopes deep where the vampires can't find them. They move silently, their eyes averted, their hearts stilled against the terror, their humanity worn thin but unbroken. They're not heroes, they're survivors, forged in the crucible of fear and despair, their spirits tempered by years of enduring the unendurable. You, with your need for comfort, your belief in justice, your faith in human connection, you'd falter, your spirit breaking under the weight of a world that offers no reprieve. The castle itself would conspire against you, its stones alive with malice, its shadows hungry for your fear. Every corridor is a trap, every room a test, every moment a chance to fail. The walls seem to watch you, their surfaces slick with dampness and something darker, their silence a judgment. The air is heavy with the weight of centuries, each breath tasting of dust and decay, each exhale a surrender to the castle's will. The darkness is not just an absence of light. It's a presence. A living thing that presses against you, whispering your name, promising oblivion. You're used to a world where buildings are inert, where walls are just walls, where shadows are harmless. Here the castle is a predator, its stones steeped in blood. Its corridors a maze designed to confuse and consume. It knows your weaknesses, your fears, your limits, and it exploits them, guiding you toward your doom with every step. You'd lose yourself in its depths, your sense of direction shattered, your sense of time eroded, your sense of self consumed by the endless, unchanging nightmare. Your modern knowledge, so prized in your world, would be useless here. You might know the science of bacteria, the history of medicine, the psychology of fear, but that knowledge would only deepen your despair. Knowing that the water you drink is teeming with pathogens, that the physician's treatments are poison, that the vampire's influence is a manipulation of your mind's chemistry, none of it would save you. If anything, it would make the horror worse. Your awareness a curse that sharpens every pain, every fear, every moment of hopelessness. You'd long for ignorance, for the blind faith of the other servants, their superstitions a shield against the truth you can't escape. Your education, your rationality, your belief in progress would crumble in the face of a world where progress is a myth, where rationality is a weakness, where knowledge is a burden you can't bear. The social bonds you rely on, friendship, family, community, would be absent or twisted beyond recognition. You're used to a world where people support each other, where kindness is a currency, where trust is a foundation. Here, trust is a luxury you can't afford. The other servants are competitors, their survival dependent on your failure, their loyalty to the vampires bought with fear or ambition. A kind word could be a trap, a shared glance a betrayal, a moment of weakness an invitation to turn you in. The vampires encourage this division, their influence sowing distrust, their punishments ensuring that no one dares to bond too closely. You'd miss the warmth of a friend's laugh, the comfort of a family's embrace, the safety of a community that lifts you up. In their place, you'd have suspicion, silence, and the constant threat of betrayal. Your heart aching for connection, but finding only walls, stone walls, human walls, walls of fear that keep you alone. The vampire's immortality would be a final, crushing blow to your spirit. You're used to a world where time is linear, where people age and die, where change is inevitable. Here, the vampires are eternal, their power unchanging, their hunger unending. They've seen centuries pass, empires rise and fall, and to them, your life is a blink, your suffering a fleeting amusement, the knowledge that they'll outlive you, that your death will mean nothing to them, that the castle will stand long after your bones are dust. It would sap your will to fight, to endure, to hope. You'd feel the weight of their eternity, their ageless gaze a reminder of your mortality, your fragility, your insignificance. The veterans among the servants have learned to accept this, to live in the shadow of gods who see them as insects. You, with your belief in meaning, in purpose, in a life that matters, you'd struggle to find a reason to keep going, your spirit breaking under the weight of a world where you're nothing but food. As you drift towards sleep, the wind howls outside, rattling the ancient shutters, a mournful cry that echoes through the castle's endless halls, a dirge for the lives lost within its walls. The vampire's laughter lingers, faint and chilling, a sound that cuts through the silence like a blade, sharp and cold, a promise of pain to come. The stars beyond the walls, if you could see them through the narrow slits, burn with a brilliance untouched by time, their light cold and distant, offering no warmth, no hope, no comfort. The castle watches, its stones alive with malice, its shadows hungry for your fear, its silence a vow of eternity, an oath that it will endure long after you're gone. Sleep well, if you can, your dreams a fragile refuge from the nightmare that awaits. The vampires are waiting, their eyes never closing, their hunger never fading, their gaze fixed on you, a spark they'll snuff out when it suits them. Tomorrow, if you're lucky enough to see it, the darkness will rise again, and so will you, until the castle claims you, body and soul, its stones drinking your blood, its shadows swallowing your name, its silence sealing your fate forever.